Hello, everybody,
Yeah.
and welcome to Friday Night Highlights. I am your host, Maggie Reed, also known as Mermaid Mama Maggie on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and that is Patty the Panda with the bell. We've got a wonderful show for you today. This guy. We've got a wonderful show for you guys today, an amazing panel of political TikTokers, and I'm just going to jump in and start introducing them. Let's start with my good friend, xyfcenter, Dominic.
Tommy.
Hi, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? I'm xyfcenter from xyfcenter on TikTok. I have a few followers on YouTube. I pretty much stand up for Black Lives Matter, the LGBTQ community. I do politics, try to get the facts out there, and that's pretty much what we do. I have a live at night that you can come in at 10 that we spread love, prayers, and pretty much look out for everybody.
I love it. You have the best lives going. Nobody has
Yeah,
strobe lights like you, babe. And next we have the queen of TikTok herself.
Hi,
Nikki New 813. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Okay, a little bit about myself. I am primarily I do TikTok. That's my biggest platform, but I'm also growing my YouTube channel and my Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter. I also have a podcast live stream with Real Ryan Shed called The Nikki Ryan Experiment, and that's on Monday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I have my Nikki News Show live stream podcast, which my very first guest was Patty the Panda, and it was amazing, and it was so much fun. That's it. That's Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you guys can find me on all of my platforms. My handle is Nikki New 813, except for YouTube. It's The Nikki New Show. So I talk about a broad range of things. I try and deliver current events with humor, sometimes with some anger. It depends on my mood. But anyway, you guys, thanks. Maggie, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And I love watching your show, and I love watching the Nikki and Ryan Experiment. Is so great. Ryan is like a staple on the show as well. He actually had me on his first podcast this week, and it was so much fun. You guys are awesome.
You were awesome, Maggie.
You guys are an awesome team.
Oh,
thank you. And next we have the bellman himself, Patty the Panda.
Is there any time left after Nikki's intro? Like, Jesus, that went on. Is it 8 fucking minutes long? Like, what the fuck? Like, she's like
mute myself.
2 glasses of wine drinking.
Patty.
So I'm Patty the Panda. Obviously on Tickety Tockety, I'm Patty the Panda. I talk about politics. I show you my beautiful country, and I'm doing some charity work currently at the moment. I also have a podcast every Saturday. It's called Conversations with Patty the Panda, where I talk about interesting people from Ireland. So week 1 we had a recovering alcoholic. Week 2 we had a Protestant from Northern Ireland, to be compared that to a Catholic in the Republic of Ireland. And tomorrow I have a feminist. So that's going to be interesting, seeing as I'm a bit of an arsehole. So apart from that, you can find me on all of my other channels, and this is streaming on my YouTube channel right now, Patty the Panda. So check me out there. Thanks very much. That's how you do it, Nikki.
Thanks, Patty.
Fantastic, Patty.
Yeah, I know where
really
that
like
finger's being.
Nikki's intro. Next, we have food expert.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I thought we were going to go to Lord Timotheus. Yeah, my name is Bert from the channel Food Expert. I travel the world, and right now I'm currently in the mountains in Albania. I was in Macedonia, and a couple days ago I was in Tirana, and now I'm up here in the middle of nowhere. So I hope that the reception is good. And I'm currently drinking a beer from Turkey. This is Efes draft beer. It looks like root beer though, so I'm tricking out everybody. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's got a nice refreshing. It's a normal beer basically, but it's from Turkey. First time I'm trying this one. So, anyways, yeah, I travel the world and eat crazy foods and yeah, I'm glad to be on the show with Mermaid Mama Maggie and everybody. It's great.
You're awesome, Bert. All right, next we have Jonathan from Some People Like It.
Well, since our intro time's almost gone, I'll make it quick. Some people like
That's
it
what
on TikTok and Twitter. Don't bell me. On Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and I also just started writing for the Divided States of America with the awesome Heather Gardner. So check that out on Midas Touch. The first episode I contributed on just dropped last night, so check it out.
Yay!
Awesome.
So proud of you, Jonathan.
Yay.
It's so awesome.
I'm super stoked.
Yeah, it's really great news. And next we have Lord Timotheus.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Lord Timotheus, of course. You can follow me across all platforms at Lord Timotheus. I have a YouTube show with my husband, JC, No Oxygen Sundays. You can catch us at 4, sometimes between 1 and 4. It's not set in stone. Just whenever the chores gets done, we just go on live. Other than that, thanks for popping in. Good to see you guys. And Bert, got a question for you. I know you travel the world, and I was fanning through some old stuff, and look what I found.
Oh, Chinese money. Those are 16 cents each.
Of course it is. Actually, it's quite a lot. The denominations get big. This was the last time I've traveled to Asia. I somehow got all this loot. I hope I wasn't in a strip bar, and this is what was left over.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Were you in Beijing last or Shanghai last or?
Actually, I think this is South Korean money.
No, that's Chinese money.
Oh hell! Well, then I must have been.
Doesn't it have like Mao on the front of it?
That's Mao Zedong.
I must have
That's like got Mao on it. It's not from Korea.
I must have been in Shanghai then. That's where this is from.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my
the
favorite.
Korean money. The Korean money's got the guy with the beard, and that's the guy that wrote the Korean alphabet.
Well,
and that is.
I sure to spend all that shit then because Korean shopping is awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right,
yeah,
you guys.
you
So I thought today we would do something different and start out the show doing something a little patriotic. So I thought we could maybe just listen to the Star Spangled Banner just so we could, get off on the right foot. So let's do this.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh.
It was beautiful.
Okay, I have to
Can't be
say
That
listening
doesn't
to
get a
that
bell.
I kind of feel bad for her, actually.
I do
that
too,
doesn't get a bell.
But what I wanted to say something. There's this whole trend on TikTok right now where it's tell me things that have like the same energy, right? And I think that woman's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner and America have the same vibe right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. I mean, it just kind of has the same vibe. So
I'm in mourning for the national anthem. And this is the only veil that I can find.
It's perfect.
Wow, that's perfect.
It's actually spot on.
It is Alexander McQueen, though, just in case you're wondering.
I love how you have the earphones over it.
No, really, that rendition was the perfect representation of CPAC because it was tone deaf as fuck.
Yes.
The entire CPAC.
yes, let's talk about CPAC, guys. Go.
Oh, God.
I got nothing.
Nobody has anything to say. Nobody.
Okay, well,
as
a Texan, I want to point out that Ted Cruz had tried to make fun of him going to Cancun like it was a joke, and I was just like, man, you piece of shit. How can you get any more unlikable than Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
He's out there trying to do stand-up comedy about him leaving Texans to freeze to death and go to Cancun and then blame it on his daughters. What a great guy.
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
And you are
look at
here.
Then he went on to say like something about how COVID is just like not a big deal again, even though it is a big deal. I don't understand this.
They're invested in that.
I have people in.
Yeah. The lies can double down and triple down. They can't
I
come
have
back
people
from
in
it,
the
so they gotta
comments
keep it
defending
going.
him.
See, this
Oh
is
my
what I'm
God.
talking
Block 'em.
about here, because we had, CPAC, I mean, it was over the weekend and it feels like a month ago because, just so much goes on every day. But, this was the first time we had Donald Trump come out of hiding from his Mar-a-Lago estate. And he came out and addressed, he got national coverage for his speech and really doubled down on every single lie and pretty much outed like anyone that was against him. He pretty much laid the platform that the Republican Party is going to live and he's going to fight tooth and nail for the Republican Party, but his Republican Party that he deems worthy. That's what I got from CPAC really was Donald Trump he was calling out everyone that, voted against him, inciting the insurrection. He really doubled down on his lies as well. I mean, what do you guys think about Donald Trump being at this conference and his
What's be-
platform and this golden statue?
What's beautiful about that, Maggie, is that they spent the whole
And the
time
stage.
bitching about cancel culture, and then Trump got up there and said, "Cancel all these people who didn't agree
Yep.
with me."
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. It was an ass show. I have to admit that I couldn't watch it. But in hearing the stories and hearing some of the snippets from his speech, it was the same old rhetoric. It was the exact same rhetoric, the cancel culture that they started, by the way, in the 90s, the whole Christian movement. But I think that the people that follow him right now that are high up in the government, I think they're terrified of him. They're not, they're terrified of his base. And when he says this person is no good, his base goes after them. I mean, death threats, the whole 9 yards. These people are terrified of him saying, go after this person. He is just like up here saying, okay, this guy, go for it. It's open season. So
Absolutely.
that's my take.
So my thoughts on this is as somebody looking in. So Donald Trump is a cunt, and everybody in that room is a cunt, and everybody who spoke at that event is a cunt, and that's the only word to describe them all. Yes, it was doubling down on the big lie and all of that nonsense, but more importantly, Donald Trump listed about 40 things that he was telling his base to be terrified of. You should be afraid of immigrants because immigrants are suddenly serial killers and are going to rape your grandkids again. You should be afraid of trans girls because in his mind, they all look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and they're going to rape your grandkids. You should be terrified of Joe Biden's stutter. You shouldn't be afraid of COVID, but you should be absolutely afraid of masks. Like, the rhetoric was, for a Republican Party who think they're big and bad and have the greatest army in the world, they sure as hell are terrified of absolutely fucking everything. But the one word that came out of that and everybody was tweeting was Trumpism. It wasn't republicanism. It wasn't the GOP. It was Trumpism. And if you're not on the Trumpism train, then you're not part of the future plans for that type of people. And you're right, they are terrified of the base because the midterms are only 18 months away before it gets into ramping up time. So 18 months, can we lose the 74 million voters that Donald Trump secured? And the answer is absolutely not. So they'll be terrified for another 2 years.
The GOP they don't govern. They don't govern.
No.
They identity politic. They culture war. They don't govern. And the people that the poor red states that are supposed to be represented by these GOP members that won't give them a living wage will turn around in the same sentence and ask for a donation. So this is the party now. Trump has left
grifters.
Yeah. People that will literally smack you in the face and then steal your wallet while they're doing it as a distraction.
I'll give an example.
It's ridiculous.
Last night, Ron Johnson, when they were debating, I know we're talking about this in a few minutes, but last night they were debating the COVID relief bill, and Ron Johnson asked, can you read the entire bill aloud? And the whole process was designed just to waste time. And whilst it was being read aloud, they were all out in the corridors having their meetings, talking on Fox News about cancel culture and Dr. Seuss and all of that. But by the time the bill was finished, there wasn't enough Republicans in the room to object to a Democratic call to reduce the debate time from 20 hours down to 3 hours. So that passed. So it wasted no time at all. And it just showed the Republican Party for exactly what they are. They don't care about the American people. They care about themselves, their donors, and they care about sound bites on Fox News. That's it. Nothing else.
I do have to say, though, Patty, I think that there are a good handful of Democrats that are the exact same way. Unfortunately, it is my party, but I'm kind of disappointed in some of the politics some of these Democrats are playing that I've been seeing lately, and I think Lord will agree with me.
You know, Nikki, I'm glad you brought that up because just a couple of days ago, I changed my party affiliation to independent.
Mm-hmm.
These assholes have now got to earn my vote. No one gets a free pass. That includes the Democrats. Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden, they went out there and they said things, they made promises. And what are they allowing the Republicans to do? These shenanigans at chipping at solid bills that are for the American people, people that are for their benefits that will benefit everyone in America. I said this before, I'm going to say it again, but I won't repeat myself too many more times. Democrats are weak. They don't use the same tactics that Republicans can use to get things done for the people. Now, we clearly know who the Republicans represent, and they clearly don't represent the constituents that sent them there. They represent the 1% in the donor class. So it's clear why they don't want. It's clear why they don't want the $15 minimum wage.
Yep.
And Joe Manchin right now, if I had a truck park outside of his house that had a big sign that said what Patty the Panda just said, "cunt," I would just repeat that with triple underlines. We don't have the Democrats do not have the majority because Christian Sinema and Joe Manchin are voting Republican, and they always will because they're in it to keep their jobs. I did an extensive dive on Joe Manchin, and trust me, I encourage you guys to do the same. Joe Manchin used to be governor of West Virginia. His daughter is CEO of a medical company that one of the senators, when they raised the cost of the EpiPen. So Joe Manchin has Republican cover. I don't know why he has a D in front of his name because he is Republican. So there is no majority in the Senate. And this is why I was pushing during the election that we needed a super majority because the Democrats do not have a majority. Look at what they're doing to the COVID bill now. Can you imagine with voter rights and all this other stuff that's going to come over? It's just going to be a shit show. So I am now independent that will lean whichever my interests for me and my family swaying because the Democrats, when they have majority, they blow it. They don't know what they're doing.
I hear that.
I'm sorry. Hi, Walter.
Hi, Walter. Welcome to the show. Can you give us a little intro about yourself since we all kind of did that already, but let everybody out there know who you are.
I'm on TikTok and I make videos that are widely misinterpreted as being a Trump supporter. So if you're,
a little bit.
So half the people on TikTok still ask me if I'm a Trump supporter and everything. Hey, everyone else, how you doing?
Hello.
What's up, Walter? Timothy,
what's up, Walter? How's it going?
So Timothy, I actually remember I've been on multiple lives with you before the election where you were like, I do remember you were screaming that you're like, Manchin is going to be such a dick after the election.
He was right.
And I was like, and every time I think about him, every time he does his moves, I'm like, you know what? You know what? Timothy was talking about it long ago. Yeah.
He's doing it
right
now.
Like I said before, I kind of have an in on Capitol Hill. I have family members that work up there. I know I have my ear to the ground, and this is what Republicans are going to do all the way until the midterms. And if Democrats don't step up, they're going to lose their majority, and it'll be like Trump never left the White House. This wanting to play nice with Republicans isn't going to work. It isn't going to work.
They always try to play patty cake with these guys that that play
you
hardball
know-
all day long. Like
if you
they
notice-
Merrick Garland our heart out and
if
then
you-
slapped us with their Coney Barrett. Like they
Yeah.
don't have any scruples whatsoever, and we're trying to play
Right
patty
now-
cake with them.
Right now, they could at least make the filibuster rules more bearable by lowering the number from 60. They just don't want to impose any rules because they don't want to give the impression that, the Democrats are being partisan. That's all Republicans know how to do.
Okay.
They're never. Speaking
that's
of the
just where I'm at.
filibuster, I mean, they're never going to get rid of the filibuster.
No,
at
not
this
not
point.
with Joe Manchin at the helm. He said, "What part of never don't you understand?" He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
And it's going to make things so much harder for us. I mean, we are so far away from getting the things that we need for this country. At this point, we can't even find any common ground, and it's really pathetic right now. I want to talk about, since we are kind of on that subject, let's talk about the bills that have just passed in the House right now. We've got the HR 1, the John Lewis voting rights bill. And I've got a little clip here. I want to talk about voting in this country because, you know, they are working their buns off to try and make it so people cannot vote. And this is their MO all the time at the state level. But the House just passed something that would help people. And we know that it's probably going to die in the Senate. So I want to show a clip real quick, and then we will discuss.
Let's start with, let's talk voting rights here. What's in this bill, and why did the House feel like they needed to do it?
Yeah, Tim, I mean, this was interesting. I mean, we heard Kevin saying that there were a number of votes taken up by the House because of the threats for today. And this was one of them. And so the House Democrats have really been working to secure and expand voting rights for all Americans for a number of years since the 2018 midterms. But now it's coming at a really critical time because as we're seeing across the nation, a lot of lawmakers, many Republican lawmakers, are trying to actually roll back some of the protections that people have to vote. And so this specific bill, it's called HR 1, and it targets a number of those actions that House Democrats feel are threatened. So I want to go through a few of those. It mandates automatic voter registration. It expands early and mail-in voting. It restores the rights to formerly incarcerated people to vote. And it also targets things like ending partisan gerrymandering and creating more transparency when it comes to campaign finance. So it's a lot of things that House Democrats have been sort of focused on for the past few years, but it's coming at a pretty critical time here in this country.
Yeah, at a time when Republican state legislatures across the country are trying to limit voting because they realize that if they expand voting, and they've said this out loud, if they expand voting rights and make it easier for people to vote, it threatens the future of the party. What about the Senate, though? I mean, passes in the House. Any chance of this passing in the Senate?
I mean, so the thing is, Tim, this was really largely voted along party lines. We saw it 220 to 210. And so a lot of the reports that we're getting is that it is unlikely to pass in the Senate. But I think we have to think, too, about sort of what is happening here in this country, right? As you can see here, there are a number of restrictive voting bills that are happening across the country. As you mentioned, a lot of those are coming from Republicans. And I think we should note a lot of those target minority voters, right? And so Democrats feel like this is important to increase voter turnout. It will help people get out to the polls the next time. Republicans, though, say that, it's not up to the federal government. It is up to states to decide on this. But, this wasn't always partisan, Tim. As we know, it's really increased over the past few years. And so it's going to be really difficult for Democrats to pass this in the Senate because they will need 10 Republicans to get on their side.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the state of our nation right now. They're just out in the open saying that this is exactly what we're doing. I mean, they've been doing it for as long as we can remember, but this is really bad here. The next election is going to, I think, make or break our country in a really big way. What are your guys' thoughts?
I just have one thing to say about that. No matter how hard Republicans try to make it for minorities to vote, what always happens? They show up and they show out. They are never going to get it. You're never going to take the actual voting right away from a Black person who worked too hard to get it. I don't know why they don't understand this. They may make the day long, but hey, pack a lunch, charge your iPhone. Georgia is a true testament of that. The way they try to cheat in there. I don't understand. They can put any kind of laws they want on the books. It will not stop Black people from standing in line to vote. I don't know why they don't understand this.
In the middle of a pandemic.
I don't understand why they don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're trying to do it should tell you everything that you need to know about a minority vote. It must be important because look what the lengths they're going through to try and stop it from counting.
Absolutely.
I tell you what I don't understand. Speaking again as an outsider, I don't understand why the greatest country in the world, doesn't automatically register people to vote when they turn 18. I don't understand why the greatest country in the world doesn't have ranked choice voting. I don't understand why you guys don't have 10 to 15 different parties. I don't care about scale. Every other country in the world is doing it this way. It's working successfully with quality candidates who are public servants, not self-servants. It doesn't make any sense. All of this nonsense and tribe that the Democrats are trying to add, it's essentially just chipping away off an iceberg when the iceberg is the size of a fucking continent. You need to blow the thing up to smithereens in order to restart and change your country completely. I know that I'm an idealist here, and I know that none of that's ever going to fucking happen. But you guys need to start aiming much, much bigger instead of going, we'll expand voter rights. Instead of going, our entire system is completely fucked because it's based on Democrats being really, really nice and trying to compromise and Republicans hating Democrats. It's ridiculous. And all the while, 80 million people don't bother their fucking hole to vote. Yeah. And I disagree that sometimes the people of color don't come out to vote because they didn't come out to vote in 2016. So sometimes they don't come out to vote. You need to change the entire fucking system. And it's not good enough anymore to say, oh, well, things are never going to change. It takes 100 years to change the Constitution, all of this stuff. It has to start somewhere. And I don't understand, and the rest of the world doesn't understand, why America is not making those changes right now.
Okay,
well,
Patty.
That's exactly
you
what
really
they're
not
trying
understand?
to do.
Patty, I got two words for him.
Hold on. This is exactly what they're trying to do right now in the House. And it's going to get shot down in the Senate. Yeah. And at the state level, they're doing their damnedest to make sure that people can't vote. I mean, this is a huge freaking problem.
Maggie, I got two answers for you right off the bat.
Yeah.
New Jim Crow and white privilege. Mm-hmm. Everything you just said will not happen because of those two things. That's why.
They want to suppress the votes. They want to structure them in a way that works for them, and they're just making they don't want people to vote in certain places, so they're trying to oppress them.
And Nikki, thanks to Mitch McConnell's tomfuckery, he's put conservative judges all through districts all over this country to prevent everything that you just said, Patty. To prevent that, because it's a stacked deck, and he stacked it for the next 50 years, even when he's dead and gone. That's how that goes.
The reason why, Patty, is because the people in power that can make those changes would lose power if they made those changes. So they're not going to pull those levers because they will never get the chance to pull those levers again. So one party would be completely destroyed if we had automatic voter registration. If we find people that didn't vote, one party would completely cease to exist. If we had ranked choice voting, all these things that you're mentioning would completely destroy one side of the aisle. And so they're not going to pull those levers because they're never going to get a chance to pull those levers again.
And Jonathan, a lot of people's way of lives too, that don't care about poor people.
Absolutely. So they're not going to do it.
What I find interesting though, is that, we know the importance of, this kind of a bill passing right now, but the timing of this as well, it's almost getting swept under the rug where, again, we'll come around to the midterms and we'll see voter suppression happening once again and all these things happening because of the legislation at the state level, what they're putting through, and people are going to be up in arms about it. But this is happening. It's like a slow creeper that they're always trying to just push shit on people all the time. We should be standing up and being so mad about this at all times and never giving up, because this is bullshit. I mean,
it doesn't feel like we the people at all.
It's like this because of the failure of the Reconstruction years, not addressing the fact that slavery happened and you're wanting to oppress people that you don't want to participate in the democratic I'm tongue-tied. In the democratic process in the first place. Look what they're doing in Arizona. They don't want black and brown people voting because too many of them will.
Yeah.
They don't want it. It's deeply rooted, Patty. It's difficult. It's
No,
complex. It's just not going to change.
I understand.
Until the whole thing
Again,
blows up. It's just not.
You look at within the last 100 years. In the last 100 years, France, Ireland, India, countless other countries, the people have said "fuck you all" to the elected officials and changed things en masse by revolution. And that makes me sound like a proper communist, but proper revolution. That's what you need in America. Your country was formed off the basis of revolution, and like Ireland,
the sad thing is, Patty,
is a younger country than the United States. Ireland became a republic in 1937 after fighting for our independence for 800 years. 800 years. We never gave up, and we kept going because the ideals of our country were important enough to fight for. If you have the majority of people who want to change the country, you just change the fucking country, and you don't let 100 fucking senators get in the way.
Patty, this conversation is going to go around until a circle till one of us gets dizzy. It's not going to change until people have a reckoning with race in this country. It's not going to change. And 74 million people, 55% of white women have decided that they like America the way it is.
But
George Floyd or not, it's not going to.
But
160
million
What is this, lap number
people
3?
didn't vote for Donald Trump.
Is this lap number 3? No.
No, but 160 million people didn't vote for Donald Trump. That's
I
more than
understand
70%.
that, but
But, you know, I will
74
also
million
say-
people is still a lot. It's still a lot to make a difference. It's still a
I will
lot.
also say one thing. The only revolution that it seemed like we were having in this country was not a revolution. It was an insurrection. Like, that was the only people coming out and speaking up for some crazy shit. So this is where our country is backwards in so many ways. And I think we know that. Going on, speaking of George Floyd, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act was just passed in the House as well. How do we think that is going to, go into the Senate?
Not
Can
well.
I just say something that
Absolutely.
one of the people that I despise the most, Lauren Boebert, she made a nice little Twitter thing about saying that it was defunding the police, and I'm like, bitch, defunding and reform are two totally different things, and it's that, like, throwing those inaccuracies and untruths out there into the media that they continue to do. It's like her and Marjorie Taylor Greene are the new Trump. Like, together they are just taking over, and it's like he's texting them saying, say this, because it sounds like it's coming from his mouth.
Nikki,
And it's so frustrating.
Nikki, they're not new. They've always been there. Trump has given them the license to speak out loud about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to see the Democrats market these types of bills the same way they would the same way the Republicans do. If you want to do something restrictive, where they would pollute something, they call it the Clean Skies Act or something. And do the defunding or abolishment, market it that way, like the American Family Policing Act or something that sounds so positive and patriotic, and the Rally the Patriots, because I do love how it is funny how marketing wise they crush it with their they have the most onerous, insidious legislation, and it just sounds so flowery, and you're like, well, why would you be against no child being left behind? Meanwhile, schools, it leaves every child behind.
It's
Well,
you're
we've
right.
talked
You
about
you have
this.
to fight fire with fire. I mean, it's ridiculous the way, Lord was saying earlier. I feel like the Democrats grow some fucking balls. We need you right now. Figure it out. We need to get these things passed. Walter, you're absolutely right.
A
Look how
theme that we've
fiery-
been talking about lately, though. Hold on, real quick. A theme we've been talking about on the show from weeks past has been messaging and how Democratic messaging needs to be better. And the Republicans are great with their little slogans and their "Stop the Steals" and their locker ups and everything, and they get their message across real clear. We need to be better with our
three-word
messaging
phrase.
at this point.
Well, remember the thing with Ocasio where she reached out to several people, House members that were up for re-election, and she said, I'll help you with messaging for all of these things. And a few of them were like, yeah, I'm good, thanks. And the others, a few said, we would like your help. Those people that took her help, they're still in office. The other ones are not in office anymore. I think that says a lot of like, she, like the newer generation of, someone like Ossoff and, Warnock and, AOC, like in terms of like the marketing and messaging of stuff, they can stay on message. They can do that. They can get in there with messaging and like, you actually know what they stand for.
There's really got to be something wrong with people or government who doesn't want their constituents to prosper. Our government is literally working against us because they're fighting with each other. People, I think they said with this whole delay of reading the bill, 900 more people have died. It's just fucking foolishness. And I'm just sick to death of all of it. They're just this Ron Johnson fella, he only won by 3.2 margin. He is beatable. Whoever is running against him needs to get AOC, Samuel L. Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, whoever the fuck, and get going right now. This guy is beatable.
Absolutely.
I don't understand it. I just don't get it. Where's
I think it should be Samuel.
Look, Kamala Harris.
agree.
Kamala Harris. What happened to her fire? We want it all in a bipartisan. Fuck bipartisanship. I'm hungry. I need my check. Where's my stimmy? What's up?
Well, speaking of bipartisan and the stimulus bill, let's talk about, the COVID relief that's happening right now. And we are talking about it. But, what are your thoughts on Joe Biden kind of caving in and lowering the eligibility for people to get the stimulus check? I mean, overall, it saves about $12 billion out of a 1.9 billion plan here.
I think he needs to grow another ball. I think he needs to push it through.
Yeah. Now, come on. How many
It's
here? How many
Manchin
of us
that's
here?
holding it up, though.
How many of
It
us
is.
here?
You're right.
I'm sorry to cut you off, YFC, but I just want to say one more thing. I'm gonna be quiet.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
How many of us here know
No, go ahead.
procedurally that the Democrats can change procedures? For example, that parliamentary who took the $15 bit out of the bill, she's not elected by anybody. Kamala Harris could have overridden her easy. But to appear bipartisan, they just, we're just going to take her advice. Excuse me, Joe Manchin is one of the poorest states, and he's a millionaire, by the by. Did anybody know?
Can I add?
I don't get it.
Can I add to that? I was reading today about Joe Manchin. I was reading about Joe Manchin today, and there's like he has a business, or somebody has a business in his family that has that they pay people minimum wage, and it was absolutely in his best interest not to raise the minimum wage, because then all of a sudden these employees would be making $15 an hour, and they're saying that's why he is so against it. Sickening.
It's ridiculous. It's just
$15
ridiculous.
$15 an hour is supposed to be increment, right? Like $1 a year for the next 5 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not like it's going to go to $15 tomorrow that everybody's going to be under. And from what I understand too, is that they're supposed to give government funding for small companies to help them pay the money. So it's not like it's going to be just coming out of their pocket, It's kind of crazy that, but Manchin is the one that's holding everything up. So it's like, you can say, well, Joe Biden is not doing this and Schumer's not doing this. But I mean, if Manchin's not on board, they're going to sit there anyway. So they have to do something to get it done. So, I mean, they're going to have to trim here and there to try to get it passed, which is crappy and it sucks. But I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I just don't find the circumstances being the same if the Republicans were in charge. I don't see the circumstances being the same.
No,
Republicans
I agree with you.
They wouldn't bend. They wouldn't. Democrats bend too easy and too quick. They do.
I agree with Lord. Like, do you honestly think that Donald Trump wouldn't have Manchin in the Oval Office, leveraging any piece of dirt or anything against him, or bribing him off, or buying his vote? Donald Trump would not rest until he got that vote, and yet the Democrats are like, "Oh, okay, Joe. Well, that's all right."
Well, I mean, we should do what they're doing. They do like he's right. Patty's right. Where they at all the rallies I talked to, their plan is to primary all the Republicans. They don't like if they hinted that the election was fair, they're like, we're primarying them. And so, I mean, and I don't think that's not a conversation we normally have where it's like, we only talk about primarying when it's like AOC, like we primaried her. But that's not like a normal, like the Tea Party went and did that. They're going to do that this next cycle. You're going to have a bunch of Marjorie Taylor Greens and Boeberts
Jesus Christ.
that are like, they're going to be you're going to be like a next level Boebert Green crazy.
Well, that's the American way, though, right? Primaries are good. If
No,
I
yeah,
don't
but we
like
don't
what you're
do it.
doing, but if I don't like what you're doing and I think I can do a better job, I'm going to run against you. That's just the American way. That's how democracy works. But they're using it as a blackmail tactic. You do what I say. Like for the guy in Pennsylvania, we didn't send him there to do the right job. We sent him there to do what we told him to do.
Yep.
What kind of government is that? It's not a government at all, and it's gotten out of control. And now that Donald Trump's gone, the White House may seem normal, but Congress is business as usual, obstruction. And now that we've lost power, we're going to do everything possible to let the red states, Mississippi. Please, Maggie, please say you're going to talk about Marsha Blackburn. Please say you are.
Yes.
I just can't. I just
Go ahead.
can't
Just
with
go
these
ahead and
folks.
start talking about her. Go
I
with the
just-
flow. Go for it.
I mean, first of all, this Neanderthal thing, as usual, Fox News always throws their little 5 cents in there and turns it into the culture war that it now becomes. Throwing a ball, a red shiny little laser pointer over there. Excuse me. They just trimmed the fat on unemployment insurance from $400 to $300. So now Fox News will throw in Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss to take away from the fact that, Democrats are trying to be friends with the Republicans and get this done. So now we're going to make you suffer $100 less. I'm just sick of all of it. The tit for tat, the way that Republicans hold shit hostage over the Democrats and then they cave when they have a majority is just ridiculous to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of, actually, Walter, while I have you here, I want to talk about just a little bit about this craziness that happened on March 4th, because I know you went down to DC because apparently, Donald Trump was supposed to be inaugurated back into office yesterday, guys, as the 19th president. And I don't know what happened, but it just didn't happen. Walter, you were on the ground there.
It was
Tell
so
us what
funny.
you saw in DC.
So I didn't. So here's the thing. I go to all these rallies in DC, and the first indicator I have is I take Amtrak up there, and then I go back. So I take it up for a few hours, and I go back home. It's like boom, boom. Usually, when the rally is going to be like a big deal, the tickets are sky high, and it's like I could fly there for less money. So tickets were like super cheap. I was like, all right. And usually they all get on in New York. Like you think, oh, there's no Trump supporters in New York. They out themselves when they get on that train to DC to go to a rally. So I was like, there's no one. I was thinking, I went there with Jolly Good Ginger on TikTok. And I was like, I told him, I was like, I don't think anyone's showing up. Some people showed up. So here's the deal. So we get there and we're like, all right, we'll shoot some sketches and and we like dress like Trump supporters because we're like, all right, well, maybe they'll like out themselves when they see us. So there's tons of media there trying to look for like the happening, the Trump supporters to this. And they kept taking our picture thinking we're there for the incident. And then because I told them, I was like, there's tons of media over here. Let's go over there. And so they would come up and I would like get cross-eyed and make like really weird poses. Like, and so like, and so these photographers were like, oh, thank you. Cause they'd be like, sir, can I take, so we got taken by media in front of Trump Hotel. And we were like, and then Russell's like, listen, I think we're going about it the wrong way. Let's take off the Trump gear. And he's like, do you still have that CNN mic? And I was like, yeah, I have it in my bag. So I had the CNN mic cube that I put on. And then and he's like, I think they're going to approach us out of anger, not out of solidarity. So we're shooting some sketch. like that music, they're like, why not do this then? Where's that? Like that type of music that's been a trend on TikTok. So we were doing that in front of Capitol Hill. And then these women saw. So first off, a CBC reporter, a Canadian guy, starts interviewing us, and we're telling him about what we do. And he was like, oh, that's hilarious. And he's like, how do you get people to talk to you? And then just then, these two women come up on a bike, and they start talking tons of trash about CNN. And we're like, this is how.
I saw that.
So they come up, we're like, wait, what? This woman starts dumping on Don Lemon. Like, that's her opening salvo. It's like,
wow.
And we're like, what? Like, it took us a few seconds. We're like, oh, she's talking about CNN, right? So we started interviewing her. We're like, cartoon. So this is how it was all over DC. You'd had Trump supporters there, but like they were sort of undercover, and they'd give a glance. When we had the Trump gear on, they'd give like a head nod. They'd be like, yeah. They'd like, and they'd keep walking because they were doing a perimeter around Capitol Hill, around the barricades. Like they're waiting for something to happen. These women, basically, since we were CNN, they were just like, they knew that Trump was already in the White House. He had taken control, and that was why the barricades were up. And they were mad that we, as CNN, were withholding this information from the public.
Dear God.
They were like, and it took us a second to be like, wait, what are we withholding? And they were like, you know it. And we're like, wait. So then we started being cartoonish. If you saw the videos, I'm like saying that like I eat babies, I worship Satan, I love communism. I had to eat a baby to get the job at CNN, and I was, I'm like, someone's good. It was just so cartoon, and I'm laughing as I'm saying it. So I'm looking at Russell. I'm like, they're not going to believe. Like any normal person would be like, you're just being ridiculous, and they were like. My only regret is that I didn't get her friend on camera, because her friend was like absolutely disgusted. She was like, I cannot hear any more of this. Then, this is the crazy part, the police roll up on us because CNN called the police. So I'm like, the police. So we're explaining this we're giving him our TikTok channel. He's like, what's your TikTok channel? And we're telling him the bit we just did. We're like, yeah, so we said we're from CNN and that we're eating babies. And the cop is actually laughing. He's like, that's funny. He's like, that's okay, that's funny.
He's like, you're going to get a new follower. There you go.
Oh my God.
And then he's like, he's like, CNN wanted to make sure that no one was pretending to be them to gain access to Capitol Hill.
Right.
Like, I was like, afterwards, I was like, wow, I really could have gotten arrested, but I could not like stand up properly because Russell and I were just howling. We're like, because all of it happened at once. The reporters, and meanwhile, the CBC reporter is standing there watching this whole thing play out. He was like, what just happened? He recorded all of it because he was interviewing us, and then the women showed up, then the police, and he was like, what the hell is going on?
Oh my God.
And we were like,
so great.
We were like falling apart laughing.
And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, nobody really like showed up in droves, but you got great footage. And Donald Trump was not inaugurated again. But I mean, I think it just goes to show that, I mean, the buildup to this March 4th date was it was so intense for people.
Not for
And
me.
it's just
Maggie, before I
Yeah.
joined, I saw a Michael Flynn video. It's all over TikTok now, telling everyone that it's a progression. March 4th was just the beginning, and we have to pray on it.
Oh,
but we need you to continue to send your money.
You know
Michael
what?
Flynn.
So it's a long con. It's a long con. Is what
Well, and
it's a long
speaking of the grifting, I guess the Trump hotels in the area of DC tripled their prices yesterday. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. They're just taking them for all they're worth, and they don't.
Can these people actually have afforded to even stay at a Trump property anyway? I'm confused. Who's staying at a Trump property now? I'm confused.
Trump said he doesn't like those people that can't afford his hotels. They don't like the middle class people. He doesn't like the like medium people that can't afford his hotels. He only likes the rich people.
Man, I got to tell you, if Trump would
Do
have
you think-
used an ounce of this power for good, we would have been in trouble, guys. He would have. I mean, think about this dude. I can't even get my words out. I'm just flummoxed. I'm flummoxed. If he would have used an ounce of this, all of this that's going on around him for good, Lord knows where America would be. I mean, would we all prosper? I mean, sure, we'd have racism, but we'd all be living good. You know what I mean? I'm just wondering, had he just used an ounce of this foolishness for good, just for a year, just to see where it could go, I'm just surprised.
But that's not within his bones. It's not within his personality.
He would have definitely been president again, though. You can believe that.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. It's not within him. He is if there's any, he's not a good speaker. He's not a good politician. He's not a good anything. The one thing that he has mastered is being a con man. And for some reason he has some sort of I don't know, it's like this hold over people. Like he's very charismatic and he draws these types of people in, and he has seen that, and he just keeps drawing them in with his words and his lies, and they hang on his every word.
I finally figured it out. I've interviewed so many Trump supporters. It finally like clicked one day, and I was like, I get it. Oh my God, I get it. So because the fact that he's such a selfish piece of trash has worked in his favor, because they're so disestablishment. There's populist, there's disestablishment. They're like, they view him, they're like, well, he's not beholden to his party. And they're like, well, he's an outsider. So the fact that he'd never held office, I feel like that's sort of a trend on both the left and right. And the fact that he doesn't care about anyone, like but himself, they're like, it's like, oh, well, this is it. This is the disestablishment. This is the populist thing that we want. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then they just create this entire mythology around it. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, okay, like it's sort of, it's the fact that he's selfish and he does not think about the party at all. Does not think about, like, and
it's the purity. It's the purity.
If Biden was in his situation, he would have said, you know what, I need to step down for the good of the party. I mean, if McConnell was in his situation, he would have been like, I need to just let this go and concede for the good of the party. He doesn't. He's like, I don't care about the party. I don't care about anyone else but me. So that it's created this mythology that's sprung forth from that, and there's no one else they can point to be, not part of the establishment.
Okay. Now it's the Trumpism. I mean, you mentioned that earlier. That was the word of CPAC. Donald Trump brought it up. Trumpism. It's pretty much
TPAC.
Yeah, exactly. It's the party moving forward now will be the Republican Party, but it's Trumpism party. Like it's his party now, and it's what he says goes, and he's got the base. And I mean, we have a lot to worry about in the future.
Maggie, I honestly think that, the Republican Party's been splintered. It's been split. And therefore the numbers, I really feel like if it becomes like the Patriot Party that he wants it to be, and then the Republican Party and the Democratic Party has it in numbers. Unless the Dems keep fucking up and they keep being pussies. I'm sorry, but pussies about, what needs to be passed to help the American people right now. They need to, then the Democrats, if that doesn't happen, then the Democrats will have the majority of the people. And I think this is why the Republican Party / Trumplican Party are frantic right now with the bill, the H1. H1N1. What is it? That's like
HR1.
You know what I mean?
HR1.
HR1. That's what it is.
The John Lewis voting rights.
With all the voting stuff. Yeah. And they're terrified of that because they want to oppress people. That has been their MO for years, suppressing the votes in all around the country.
Jonathan, I haven't heard from Jonathan in a while. Jonathan, what do you think?
I was waiting to hear from xyfcenter.
Okay, go ahead, X.
It's okay. I was gonna say, did you guys hear about the newest thing about Trump is gonna run for Congress and then he's gonna take over the head and then he's gonna impeach Biden and Kamala Harris, and then he's gonna take over the presidency for the final 2 years of Biden's term and then run again for another 4 years after that?
Do they think he's going to live?
That's the newest one that I heard.
The dude eats cheeseburgers for a living.
And he'll be in jail, so that's going to be hard to do from jail.
People like that are evil garbage like that never
there you
die. And the more evil you are, the longer you live.
If that were the case,
like 200.
if that, and Walter, you're right, because if that were the case, everyone who passed away from COVID would still be here, and all the evil fuckers that needed to get it would be gone. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up. All right. So
that's my thoughts.
Hi,
that's
Ryan.
not anyone else's thoughts.
Yeah, everyone wave hi to Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
That's my
boy.
Ryan.
You.
We
already talked about you earlier, Ryan. So you only get so much time.
What up, Ryan?
Listen, there's always going to be. I remember I made a video during the week. Like I remember in my lifetime, the world was going to end maybe 80 times already. 84, 88, 91, 92, 2000, 2001. The world is always going to end at some point, and there's always going to be a group of people who are dumb enough to think that that's actually going to happen. And it's the same for Trump stuff. The terrible thing is that these people are actually taking out second mortgages on their house and to donate to Donald Trump and to this idea that suddenly he's out of nowhere in some unwritten scripture that's hidden behind a wall somewhere in the Capitol Hill, that he's suddenly going to become the prophet Trump and be president again. It's really bizarre. And it's actually more of a testament to the chronic mental health issues in the USA, that people are so far off reality that they've created, and it's called psychological rigidity. They've created their own reality, and they've linked it with Donald Trump, who, like you were saying earlier, he doesn't step down for the party. His reaction would be, I am the party. Bow to, like, I am the party. Fuck off. I'm not, so mental health is clearly a massive issue because 74 million people voted for Donald Trump, who is the biggest piece of shit in the entire world.
And Nikki, going back to what you said, the party is splintered, but you know what? They always come home. Look what Mitch McConnell did. Yeah. They voted to acquit, but then he went and did a speech about how he was responsible. And then the very next week, he said, "Oh, if Trump's my nominee, I'm gonna go ahead. Surely he'll be."
We should be more worried about Ivanka in Florida. He's right about that, because I hear a lot of chatter. They're pushing her to take Rubio's seat. I honestly feel like she's a threat. Like the two brothers are morons. And they're like, but I feel like she's more measured.
You know what, Walter? I'm sorry, but legalities is going to prevent her from running from anything. Because I'm going to tell you, people keep asking, why are it taking them so long to start these court cases? They want Merrick Garland comfortably settled into the Justice Department, because these cases against Trump will have to work in conjunction with the federal government. Mm-hmm. These Trump family, they're not going to be able to run for nothing when this shit's over with. And then they keep getting hit with all these civil suits. They're not going to have the financial wherewithal to run for anything but out of this country.
My worry is that, it seems to me that we still have yet to hold anybody accountable for anything. I agree. I know it's coming. I know we keep saying it's coming, but at this point, I feel like I'm kind of disillusioned, and I'm getting let down by a lot of things all the time, and I'm truly afraid that.
Maggie, I told you, it's the circle. We keep having this conversation in a circle, and until someone gets the courage to break the circle, it'll be acknowledged. Sure, like the head of the National Guard. He said he had his guys on the bus waiting, and you're just waiting for the call. 1 hour became 2 hours. 2 hours became 3 hours because they were concerned about the optics. So then he asked the question, last year, did you guys wait on the bus when it was Black Lives Matter? He says, oh, no, we got the call immediately. They weren't worried about the optics then. Until we have a reckoning with race in America, we're going to have a circle conversation, and it's going to keep happening in a circle until somebody has the courage to break it. I'm sorry to keep saying it. Everything we talk about is going to be in a circle unless someone has the courage to break it. It's just the truth.
Well,
I gotta run, everyone. I have to go have dinner. But listen, all of you, I do a show every week at 8 to 9. Nikki's been on it. Maggie is on it every week. All of you just message me if you want to be on it. Patty, you expressed interest. You are welcome.
He's coming
Timothy,
on Wednesday.
all of you are welcome.
Nice.
Just hit me up. I'd love to have any of you as guests.
Love you, Walter.
Love you all.
Love you,
Thank
man.
you. Good to see y'all.
Okay.
See you later, Walter.
Patty's gonna bring his bell. You
Hi,
know
Walter.
that.
Thank you so much for coming. I'll
I'm
see
gonna
you
leave
Wednesday.
studio. It's not gonna end the live, is
Yeah,
it?
please
You
don't end the
better
live
not,
this
I
time,
swear
Walter.
to God.
Jesus,
Okay.
ruin everything, Walter.
For those of you who do not know, the last time Walter was on the show here, he ended the broadcast and we were all standing there with our D's in our hands. So, but we love you, Walter, and thank you for coming. All right. So that was
I was
That
going to
was-
just add there in terms of accountability. One thing I did notice in terms of the Senate hearings, and Matt Gaetz was talking about it last week as well. Josh Hawley and Mike Lee, they're questioning during the Senate hearings on January 4th. Were all about data and cell phone towers, the data that had been taken in by the FBI, and what it was being used for, and how it was being used, and all of their questions were solely based on that. And it was, why do you have our data? Why do you have our phone records? Surely it's just the insurrectionists you want. But they were told, no, we have yours as well. So clearly they're intimidated for something because they've been talking about it and they've been asking all of the questions. And then they're going out into the hallways and bitching about it on Fox News. But so there is something there. And I genuinely think people like Matt Gaetz, Boo Boo Bobert with her Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, she's in trouble. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in massive trouble. Ron Johnson, all of these people are in serious trouble. Not so much Ted Cruz because he's too much of a coward to follow through with some of the stuff he talks about. Josh Hawley absolutely is in trouble.
Yes,
he's
he
an
is.
absolute shitbag.
He literally says, I want to know, fuck all them. I want to know, do you have my records? And you just saw him leaning into the question?
Yeah.
He's scared as a motherfucker.
Merrick
He really
Garland
is.
already said, he's like, I mean, before he was even appointed, he was like, I am going to start at the bottom and I am going to go to the top to find who has been involved with the insurrection. And he will. And I really hope, and Maggie, you said this earlier about it doesn't feel like anybody has been held accountable, and this can't be swept under the rug. We need to be loud and we need to be squeaky about it because people need to pay for what happened to our country on the 6th of January. Period.
But what's worrying, Nikki, is that Donald Trump gave his speech, a 90-minute speech at CPAC, and we talked about it earlier, and that speech was worse than the speech he gave on January 6th. Yep. He didn't say go fight and go, march down to the Capitol, but all of the rhetoric was far worse because he started attacking Republicans and anybody who came out against him in any way, shape, or form. That speech was like the first 60 minutes he was on script, and then you always know when Donald Trump goes off script because he's like, can you believe these people? He's a complete, I can't even stand it.
Well,
he's lost his mind.
Because there's been no accountability, he's able to make that speech again. And everybody who was at that event was able to spread the big lie again. And Josh Hawley was at that and he was like, I was the one on the Senate floor. I was the one opposing everything and I'm a hero. And he got a standing ovation from it. And he was loving it. And what happened? He raised hundreds of thousands of dollars off the back of that because, that's what it's all about. Preservation and re-election.
It's funny to me too because half of those guys voted by proxy because they said of the continuing health crisis and then showed up at CPAC. So if any CEO pulled this shit at their job, they would be fired so damn fast. I just think you need to rip this shit all out by the root and start fresh, grow it anew.
You know what? And that's a great segue right now because I want to talk about cancel culture a little bit. And what kind of has been going down this week, starting with things that were, canceled because they should be, and things that maybe need to be canceled. I want to start out with talking about Cuomo. What are your guys' thoughts on the sexual harassment scandal with Cuomo. Do you think he should resign? What are your thoughts here?
I think he should go.
I think so too.
I think I've never been a fan of Cuomo. I grew up in New York, and he's a politician, plain and simple. I don't care if he's a Democrat or Republican. This Charlotte Bennett that he came after was she was a sexual abuse survivor, and I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but he was like wanting to get with her and made her so damn uncomfortable. She loved her job. What he did was wrong. And I know that there are other women that have come out. I think 2 other, right? So there's like 3 now. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I'm not going to try and defend anybody. I don't care what affiliation you're a party to. That's wrong.
We always seem to get this wrong because we lost a really good senator for way, way less in Al Franken. And Al Franken should not have resigned, and Cuomo should resign. Like, we always get it wrong, you know?
There are 4 Republican Congress people that need to be in jail right now for the same thing.
Yeah.
So what I would say is, if it was a private enterprise, and 3 women made complaints against sexual harassment, and it's not assault. Just to be clear, it's harassment. He definitely made them feel uncomfortable, and he admits that. He said, "Yes, I had those types of conversations. Yes, I was making them aware. You know, I was flirting with them. I was making them aware that I go for younger women, etc." So he admits that, but 3 strikes and you're out in the corporate world. He's a public servant. We should be holding him to a higher standard again. The integrity of the office is more important than the integrity of the person. If the person has no integrity, the office has no integrity. So the person needs to step away to keep the integrity of the office intact.
That's right. Especially after what's going on with the stacking of the numbers of the nursing home deaths. He should just be a gentleman and just leave. Just go.
What's worrying about Democrats and liberals and people who follow all of us here is they're reverting to exactly what Trump supporters do. Whataboutism. Oh, but what about Donald Trump? It doesn't fucking matter. Both men are assholes. So it doesn't matter that Donald Trump has not been held accountable. It doesn't matter that 20 Republicans have it. He needs to keep the integrity of the office intact. You have to leave the office as good as it was.
It only matters though when they do all this talking about one thing while ignoring another. That's when it matters.
True,
because Trump belongs under the jail, and we know why.
To be fair, I haven't seen a ton of people defending Cuomo.
No, because he was wrong.
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton of that. So I understand there probably might be some people that might be out there doing the Trumpy thing and trying to defend him at all costs, but I haven't seen very much of that. To be fair, I think Democrats, if anything, hold ourselves more accountable than we should in certain situations. Again, the Al Franken thing. So I haven't seen a lot of that out there.
Okay,
it's definitely not an equivalency by any means.
My experience with Democrats and liberals in the last couple of weeks, especially after Texas and Texans needed help, and instead of maybe half the people were like, yeah, let's help them out, geez, this is terrible, the other half were like, fuck Texas. They didn't care about California, didn't care about X, Y, and Z. And there was lots of vitriol and horrible comments under my videos about Texans, and they were using their hatred against Cruz, and they didn't care about kids and the elderly and the vulnerable. They didn't care in that moment. And now it's whataboutism as well. Cuomo. Yeah. We're either going to hold ourselves to the higher standard and prove to Republicans that we're better than they were for 4 years, and prove to them that things can be better. But I know Lord Timotheus is literally going, Patty, it's not going to matter unless we address the issues of race in this country.
Well, the one thing that doesn't matter is that you can't be fooled into thinking that Republicans care about who's better. Like, Republicans give a damn about being a good person. They're not trying to have a character contest with anybody. They do not care. And I don't know if Maggie, if you were going to bring this up, but I'm in Texas. And Abbott recently opened us up 100%, did away with a mask mandate. So he tweeted that out, that he was opening us up 100%. The very next day, he blames Joe Biden and immigrants at the border for spreading COVID, because he knows the numbers are going to balloon. And he said
they're busing them. They're busing all the immigrants. They're taking them everywhere, and
but that is the most
they're all
Republican
positive
thing
with
ever.
COVID. Yeah,
like, we're talking about character. That's the most Republican thing ever. Do something that's going to explode the numbers of the virus. And the very next day, blame the Democrats and brown people. That's them in a nutshell.
Honestly, if anyone hasn't seen my TikTok, I made a spinning wheel about this exact thing. Like they are all, it's called the blame game. They're always out there blaming somebody for whatever. If it's
I love
not,
that TikTok, Maggie.
well,
But
you
you know,
and
Maggie,
300 other people. Thank you.
Trump has now given them the playbook to go ahead and throw out the problem down the road behind their dirty actions now. You see what I'm saying? He's given them the playbook to already blame these people down the road behind their poor decision making that they're making right now. So this is going to be the new playbook from the GOP.
This is seriously very disturbing to me because I feel like Democrat, Republican, I don't feel like anybody has the people's best interest.
No.
I feel like they only want to line their own pockets and do what they can do in order to appease the base, like the minimal amount. And then the rest is for them. And it's disgusting. And it is so damn frustrating.
Because both sides have their hands in the grease that makes it all work. Dianne Feinstein needs to go. I told you, all these dinosaurs need to go. Turn
they do.
on these guys.
I agree.
This is where we are. We've allowed them to be in office so long. They forgot why they were there and whom they were there for.
Yeah, I don't
Turn
disagree with you.
limits,
I
baby.
think there are some, just a handful of politicians that do try to advance
I understand that,
legislation.
Jonathan.
There are, but they do exist. There are politicians that do try to advance legislation that do help the people. Those things do exist. So one of the main issues is, like in other countries, they do public funding of campaigns. Here, these guys have to be on the phone all day, every day, begging people for money for their campaign so they can get elected again. And that is their main concern. And if we took that out of their universe, they wouldn't have to be doing that. There's actually a phone bank underneath Congress where when these Congress people are not voting or doing whatever their meetings or whatever, they go down there and they get on the phone. They just made it really convenient for them so they can go down there and start calling donors. And that's what it is. If we had public funding of finance or public financing of campaigns, we wouldn't have that issue.
Citizens United was the beginning of the end of all of that. Democracy at Citizens United ended democracy in America. That's it.
I was about to say, did we freeze?
I never know if it's that might have been your shortest statement yet, Lord. I love you.
I know.
Just going back to,
I sit here and I stew on everything that I want to say, and then I think about it when you guys bring it up, and I just say to myself,
Self.
Self. The gall, the unmitigated gall of some of these guys, just the actual fucking gall of some of them. It's just the narcissism on both sides. On both sides.
You got me on that one.
Amazing to me. Amazing to me.
So I was
Lord, I will tell you, Lord, I'm with you on being very much like not happy with the Democrats right now as well. So I'm more feeling like an independent every day.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm the disillusioned feeling that I feel every day in the pit of my stomach for this country, and knowing all the things that we have to go through, and knowing that we probably can't get even half of them not even a third, probably not even a fourth.
Okay,
but I love the thought of being independent.
So
that's a really nice thought. But where are you going to go? I mean, the bottom line is we have to win elections. If not, once the Republicans get in power, they do terrible things. So we have to win elections. So we have to work within the framework we have right now. I think the issue we need is, and I think we're talking about earlier about primarying people. Normal people need to run for office. Normal, everyday people. Ryan Shedd needs to run for Congress.
These normal
people need to run for office. I'm sick of these people with trust funds. I'm sick of these people with all this money in the bank. I'm sick of these people with all these connections running for office.
Real people.
Yes, exactly.
That's
what we need to do.
Struggles. They have empathy.
Well, you know what happens
so we have to work within the framework to get that done.
You know what happens when you get real people? You get them to tell you get told to go back to your own country. Look what's happening to Tlaib and Omar.
Hey, but they're doing it, and they're scared of them.
I understand that, but my point is, here we go again. Here we go, Patty. Back to 12. Until we deal with race in America, regular people won't be able to run for office comfortably, and you know it.
But they are doing it though. AOC is a regular person, and I understand what you're saying about what they're saying about her. But they're saying that about the squad. They're terrified of the squad. They talk about the squad on Fox News for a reason. They tweet about the squad for a reason, because they're terrified of Tlaib. They're terrified of Ilhan Omar. They're terrified of AOC. Right. And that's what I'm talking about. Those kind of people need to run.
And Jonathan, Patty, that's another reason why what you said earlier in the show, we're not going to achieve in America because of what Jonathan just said.
What did I say?
My point is, it's a circular conversation, guys. We can dress it up. Yeah. We can dress it up and
we have
talk
to have
about it.
We have to have a
see,
conversation.
I don't think so. That word "normal people," I see again. Maybe like
people without a trust
Europe
fund
just do things a little bit different. It's not normal people. It's smart people. It's ambitious people. The Tea Party brought in normal people, high school coaches, accounts assistants, that kind of people, and it fucked everything up for everyone. So those are Lauren Boebert type of people.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about smart people who really believe in public service, who really believe in it. And these people have to start off at a local level, run for their local organizations and work their way up rather than just come out of nowhere and go, right, I want to be a congressperson.
The thing about that, Patty, is smart people don't want to go into politics because it's so dirty. I mean, I read about this. The guy who challenged Marjorie Taylor Greene literally had his life destroyed. I don't know if anybody saw that article. It was an amazing article in the Washington Post. But this dude, he was getting death threats. I mean, these nut jobs just went after him, went after his family. He ended up getting divorced. He couldn't even hold a residence in the district any longer to continue to be on the ballot. He wrecked his credit. He spent all his money. These people went after him, went after his family. And politics is a dirty game. A lot of smart people are going to be like, it's not worth it for me and my family. So
see, this is why I love Ireland. I'll tell you why.
It wasn't always like this. It was made like this. It was made. It was turned into this.
Yeah,
Lord, this is why I love Ireland. This is why I love Ireland. We're a small country, but geez, we do democracy so well. So there's 9 political parties and hundreds of independents, and you can vote for whomever you like. It's ranked choice. But in terms of campaign finance, you have a set budget. You have a set budget. And if you reach a certain percentage of the vote, you're reimbursed by the state that set budget that you spent. And it means that everybody has no choice but to run on policy. You have to run on policy, and then the ranked choice means that quality candidates and most preferred candidates get elected rather than the richest or the dumbest or the whitest or whatever. And we do it so well here. Like currently in government, making the decisions are 3 different parties who had to form a coalition, work together, and are still center left. You know, so
you just make me
so it
jealous,
can happen.
Patty.
Yeah,
but it can happen. But America is just so far removed from reality that it's just not going to happen unless you burn it all down.
I just want to say this. I want to circle back to 12, Lord, and I really do. I really do feel as though he's right. There is so much hatred for the Black and brown communities that it feels like the underlying, and I was thinking this today before the show, is it feels like the underlying issue is the inability for people to grasp equality and, you know, just people being equal. And that's the driving force behind all of this. Like they are so set in their ways so long ago. And Patty, I know that, like, you know, but I feel that, Lord, I feel it when you say it. 100%.
And I can't say it enough because that's the root of the problem. No one wants if you create fairness for everyone will prosper, but you'll always have that one bitch all the way on the corner who got to drive the Mercedes and don't want nobody else on the block to have one. Yep. That is America.
The issue is that fairness for everyone would mean some people who are used to having an advantage will feel like they're neglected.
But you
now.
know what?
They don't want that.
But that's not our problem.
But I noticed
their problem. But they're not. That's the issue right there, Lord. They have a problem with that. They don't want that. And we have to.
And it comes back. Lord, and it always comes back. And I always say this on almost every one of these that I'm on. The American dream, what you're all conditioned to believe in when you're growing up, is a pyramid scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. You have the rich white people at the top. You have everybody else at the bottom. And yes, there is anecdotal evidence that some people climb up a couple of rungs. But once they get there, they're all about self-preservation as well. And they don't want anybody else to come up there because it'll take a piece of their pie. It's a pyramid. It's a Ponzi scheme. And it's never going to change until you take a wrecking ball to it. Yeah. And Nikki, just to confirm what you were saying there, what you were saying there about it's hatred of brown people. Donald Trump spent 51 minutes in his speech attacking Mexicans and immigrants coming into the country. And it's no coincidence that immediately after that, Janine Pirro, Ron Johnson, Greg Abbott, and Boo Boo Bobert, everybody was all of a sudden the caravans, the rapists, they're coming here. They're not coming here stealing our jobs anymore. They're coming here giving us COVID, and we would have been fine if they had just stayed where they were. And that's the Texas side. That's Abbott. He knows he's negligent by lifting the mandate and opening up again, but he needs a villain. And the villain of the piece is always going to be the brown person or the person of color, because that's the way it's always been.
Last I checked, you can't steal a job that you didn't want to do in the first place. How many Karens do you see out in the strawberry field picking strawberries?
Yeah. They ain't picking lettuce.
If they raised the minimum wage for picking strawberries to $30 an hour, Karens are not getting out there to do it. Because
they're picking grapes out at the grocery store.
That kind of work is not indicative of what white women are supposed to be doing in America. Mm-hmm. They, in their mind, a certain class and kind of person is supposed to do that kind of work. But oh no! But when someone who wants a better life from another country comes over to do the jobs you don't want to do, now they're stealing from our economy. Mm-hmm. It's
Lord.
I just
Lord,
can't.
Listen,
I can't.
Karens.
The circle will never be broken until there's someone has the courage to do it. I'm sorry.
Just remember, the Karens in America don't even want to pick a potato that's gender neutral. They don't even want to pick that. Never mind strawberries or fruit.
I did want to talk about potato head. There we go. There you go.
Now, as a man who hasn't had a fucking potato in 5 weeks, I find it offensive.
Oh man, and I've been sending you potato. Patty, I've been sending you potato TikToks. I'm so sorry.
Two things. No, nobody in Ireland. I've never heard of Dr. Seuss. Never heard of him. Don't care.
And really, your accent would be perfect for reading Dr. Seuss.
It's not a human. It's a fucking vegetable. It's not even a vegetable. It's plastic. Which is fuck off.
Mr. Potato Head has a penis like Jesus intended. Okay, it's not gender neutral.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like again, they take their outrage, put it with something stupid and ridiculous to take the mind off of the fact that you're not getting I get flummoxed. I do. I just get flummoxed.
I've got a word count for flummoxed this week.
I do.
I know.
I do. It's just insane to me.
Switch. It's
yeah.
Look over here.
So and just because I can say it because I'm not an American, the two guys who listen to my calls don't care. But the person who was responsible for JFK in 1963 needs to come out of retirement. I'll leave it.
Ted Cruz's dad?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you guys, before we go, we're running out of time, and I don't even know if I'm going to show the clips that I had, but I did have the clip of, and I want to talk about COVID a little bit and kind of what's been going on because, this was a big week for COVID, talking about vaccines. It looks like we're going to be getting the vaccines to every adult by the end of May. That is great news. And anyone that thought that, summer was canceled,
you know what? It's Maggie. It's great news for America. It's great news for America. But Donald Trump signed an executive order that meant distribution couldn't go to the rest of the world. So there are countries who have zero vaccines. There are countries where people are literally dying because Donald Trump have impacted that. There's literally people. Israel have a surplus and they won't give that surplus to the people of Palestine. In Ireland have only fully vaccinated 2% of our people. And why? Because Donald Trump signed an executive order. It means we can't buy the fucking vaccine.
Yeah.
That's it. So he's literally out of office. He's still responsible for people dying all around the world.
Yep.
And that's what Biden has been doing, I think, for the last 40 some days, is trying to undo all of the horrible things that this fucker did in his, 11th hour stint as president.
To add to that, Nikki, I just wish Biden, for me, if he's somehow listening to this podcast on YouTube, somehow someone's saying, "Oh, you should listen to this. They're talking about you." Somehow, I wish that he would just let the good things happen before he speaks on it. Now he set a deadline for May. What if something happens? And now giving the ammunition to the right to say, well, another fail. Just leave the deadline at June. And if it happens early, great. Why put that pressure on yourself?
Well, maybe it was April and he did that.
Maybe. I just want him to just govern and shut the fuck up.
I just
That's all I want.
we need
You got to give
definitely-
people expectations, man. You got to give
No,
people
Well,
expectations.
but so here's
Expectations is
have a
what
plan.
got us here. Expectations is what got us here. And that's why so people are
Well,
so
not really.
flummoxed with the idea that so much failure is happening.
Yeah, but
it's
you got to give people a plan
it's been
as a
40
leader.
some days. We need to be patient a little bit longer.
Can I ask a question on
I
behalf of
agree
the rest
with
of the
Nikki.
world?
You know, Ryan was saying that on his podcast this week.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Patty's speaking for the whole world. Hold on.
Sorry, can I just ask a question on behalf of the rest of the world? Yeah. Where's Kamala Harris? Where is she?
She's doing what a
Where is
VP
she?
normally does. Nothing.
Yeah, vice presidents don't do
I
anything.
mean, no. Dick
So-
Cheney.
She needs to sit
But
there and
they're
break a
not the
tie.
mouthpiece
Patty.
of
That's all she
America.
does. She sits there and breaks a tie.
That's unacceptable. Dick Cheney pretty much was president when he
Because his
he had a
president
huge
was a
portfolio.
dumbass. That's why.
Exactly. Agree with Lord. Okay, Matt, Patty,
but-
hold on.
Okay.
Listen. Like they were like Jonathan and Lord were saying that the vice president is there, like being, clued in or whatever. When Biden was vice president, Obama would say he wouldn't make a decision without asking Joe. What do you think? Even though if Obama was already going to do it, he wanted to know what his opinion was. And I feel as though Joe is doing the same thing with Kamala, that she's there and he's asking for her opinion. She is not the president. She is the backup president.
Right.
And she is there and she's doing what she needs to do as a vice president, but he is the president of the United States. That's why you're not seeing her.
But I genuinely think that she right now in the state that the USA is in currently, I think she ran on a platform with Joe that she would have a very big portfolio and would be running with policy. And she is the presumptive nominee for 2024.
Yes.
So I don't think it's good enough. That
just because she's not out in the
on
spotlight doesn't mean that her voice isn't being
It's
heard
not the
within the
VP's
government.
Yeah,
she's basically to be seen and heard and as an advisor, a number two to the country. She's not a mouthpiece. You're not.
Exactly.
And
to Nick, go ahead.
And Trump has blown up the idea of what a presidency is supposed to be. You're not supposed to hear shit from either one of them till it's supposed to be the State of the Union, to be honest with you.
To Nikki's point, I just I read Obama's new biography that just came out, and he goes into detail about how he picked Joe just for that kind of reason, is that to have Joe in the room to not only ask his opinion, but to also have Joe ask these other people questions that he may not have thought of. And I think Kamala kind of fills that same, not the exact same role, but it's good to have a senator that knows the gears of politics, how things work, how whipping votes work, how the gears of the Senate and House work, and to have somebody to bounce opinions off of. But the duties of vice president are as defined, very limited. So
but you can better believe she's got some fucking hot sauce in that purse. You can fucking believe that.
And she does, and I'm sure she
you believe
throws
Hillary
it
did, then
in
you-
people's eyes every day, and I'm sure that she is being heard. But it just because she's not out in the mainstream media doesn't mean that she is not voicing her opinion and having her views taken into consideration, because she can only say so much because she is in a position where she is beholden to the president of the United States.
Absolutely right. She's not supposed to have the spotlight. And actually, most of Biden's announcements, I see her in the back, just like Biden was for Obama. She's there. But it's Biden's turn. We have one president at a time, and that's just the way the levers work.
Yeah, I just disagree. It's okay.
You can disagree all you want, dude.
I'm fucking Irish. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't have a vote. So it doesn't matter.
So you guys,
Jonathan, fair play to
start
you.
letting me get a word in edgewise. This is my show. Come on. Damn it.
Because we keep talking in a circle.
I know I picked strong guests here, but damn.
At least Patty hasn't belled anybody.
I think I need a bell
There it
for
is.
you guys, bro. I'm gonna get one next
But
time. I'm gonna get my own damn bell.
fair play to you for reading Barack Obama's book. I bought Barack Obama's new book, Volume 1, on audiobook, and it took him 8 days to read the prologue. So I had to cancel that, and I bought the book instead because just can't listen to that shit. You know what I mean?
That's like an intro for this
my
show.
God.
I want to dedicate my book to Michelle.
Yeah, he does take a long time to speak.
Malia. I can't.
I can listen to that man talk all day. Come on.
I do. Oh,
whatever.
I would.
Whatever.
I would
love
listen to Obama all day long, every
too.
day.
Me too.
Oh.
Hey,
He
you
is-
don't have to listen to Trump. You realize what an orator is.
But, like, yeah, he's a great speaker, but like, if he's reading like the prologue for his book, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. I haven't said that. Could you imagine Donald Trump reading his book?
I can imagine him reading.
He's definitely not reading. He'll need someone to step in and help him. Poor guy.
What's this
He'll
word
be
again?
like, my favorite book, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, wait.
The only book I've ever maybe heard of in my life.
We now know his
ask?
favorite's Dr. Seuss. Yeah.
Well, first of all, in Ireland, Dr. Seuss is not even a thing. Like, not even nobody's ever heard of that shit.
But that's Trump's problem. That's
but
the problem.
Wasn't Donald Trump
not a
asked
thing
before
here in
about
America
the
either.
Bible?
Until it's
What's
made
his
one.
favorite verse? And he was like, "There's so many, I couldn't." That's very personal, and you just know, like, he's never even opened the book in his life. He just
Can we just put this Dr. Seuss thing to? How come the company hasn't come out and said, "Listen, this was our decision"?
They did.
They have.
They did.
Oh, a long ago.
Oh, okay.
Or
Okay,
they-
so maybe I must have missed that.
I hate to plug my own TikTok, but I just did this TikTok where I
good.
pretended that Glenn Beck was on my podcast, and I had my little podcast microphone, and he's going through his reasons. He's like, it's banning a book, and it's like, no, it's not banning. A private company chose to do this. That's literally capitalism, and he says it's fascism. It was literally not fascism, and he says it's the end of freedom in America. He literally says Dr. Seuss choosing to no longer publish 6 books is the end of freedom in America.
Wow.
Oh, God.
So
I literally would. I'd see. This is what I want. The black in everyone. See, you guys even have a little black in you. You just don't know it yet.
Hey.
I just want the black in that person to go. Well, do
I've
you
had a
have
couple black in me a couple times.
Hey
Oh,
now,
wow.
hey now.
Before my
Your night
husband.
highlights after
Oh,
hours.
wow. I wanted the interviewer to say, "Do you have a
Say
copy
what
of it?"
again?
I just wanted the interviewer to say, "Do you have a copy of the book we're talking about?" If you don't, then shut the fuck up. There's no. I mean, my point is, if you have it already, it's not being banned from anyone who has it already.
But you know what? They will take every opportunity to blast the liberal agenda, even if it's not the liberal agenda. This is, I mean, we have become a divided nation that is like, it's oil and water right now.
It is.
And everyone,
I
nobody
agree.
wants to. And honestly, we're making up lies on a daily basis to keep fucking fighting.
I want to cry
Just
sometimes.
to keep
It's like
fighting.
Yeah.
so
I'm exhausted.
frustrating,
I'm exhausted.
sad. Yeah.
I literally had a Trump supporter in my comments, and I just literally said, "Hey, how's your day today?" I didn't want to start a fight because I was exhausted. I just wanted to, first of all, I knew in my mind where I was going to go with it at the end. The March the 4th didn't happen. So I already had that in the pocket, but I wanted to see where they were going to go with it. Cause they immediately with their Christian values, "Oh, well, you're gay. You get on your knees." Okay, great. And probably in that order. Thanks for letting me know. The point is, how are you doing? You just want to fight on purpose because you have nothing else left to fight about. You know what I mean? And we need to choose these battles with these people. Carefully. They want to do this on purpose because this is what we just want to sock it to the libs. Well, I'm tired and I'm exhausted. I want to educate you and get you that medical attention that you need clearly because we've moved on. No, Biden is not our Lord, Savior, Jesus Christ. No, we don't have flags to him. No, we don't have t-shirts and hats. That's your thing. Just because we're quiet because a man is doing a job we elected him to do is normal. That's how it's supposed to go.
That's so funny when cult members
People are
out
crazy.
themselves. Like cult members out themselves and they're like, "Where's your Biden flag? Where's your Biden video?"
Oh, I've made a
It's
TikTok
so
about
unusual for you to not understand the concept of not being a cult follower. It's like you don't even understand. You don't even get it. He's a dude we elected to do a job.
Thank you.
All of these people have a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
All of them have a pre-existing condition. It's called stupid.
Yep.
That's it.
That is true.
I don't like
Pretty
using that
simple.
word. I don't.
Ignorant.
Yep.
Ignorant.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I formally invite you all to abandon ship and move to Ireland where we can all be happy.
I've been to Ireland.
Yay!
We can have all the milk we
several
want.
times, and
Yes, I'm in.
listen,
I'm coming.
I'm gonna buy my sun lamp and move over. I need
I'll
sun.
get a hazmat suit and get on the next plane, man. Let's go.
Y'all don't
Nice.
have Dr. Seuss over there. I'm not going.
Johnny, come on, man. Come on, man. We got so much more than Dr. Seuss. Whatever the
Oh,
fuck that is.
please.
All
Yeah.
right, you guys, we are just about out of time, and I think we got through a lot of things. We didn't get through everything, but you know what? There's always more news, and you guys are so phenomenal. I can barely get a word in edgewise, and you make my job.
Sorry.
Hey, it's okay.
Hang on. You said that a couple of times. What do you say? Edgewise? It's edgeways.
It's
Oh my God,
edgewise.
you foreigners.
It's edgeways.
You're on an
Edgewise.
American channel right now. It's
Jesus.
edgewise.
You
wait,
motherfuckers!
wait,
I never
hold on.
liked you.
What did you say, Patty? Oh, what?
Oh,
I got the power. I'm just kidding. You're back, baby. I'm sorry.
I
Talk
gotta
about,
get more out
talk
than
about
Maggie.
cancel culture.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't like what you're
Mhm.
saying. I'll take you out. I'm just kidding.
cancel the panda.
That's
I'm just
funny.
kidding. I would never. I love him so much. All right, you
love
guys. I
you,
want to go
Johnny.
through. Oh wait, talk to each
Fuck
other
you.
like that. Oh wait, kiss. There we go.
Mwah.
Yeah. Oh, it was happening. Oh, it was gonna be perfect.
I'm
There's
not
a
going to kiss a dude that's wearing a sweatshirt with his own face on it. I mean, what do you? Who wears a sweatshirt with their own face on it? Like that's.
Probably every single
It's like,
one of
where's
these
Brian?
people
If we
here.
get these two guys and Ryan Shed on the same show where they're all wearing sweatshirts with their own face.
Hey, listen,
Jonathan,
if you
where's
don't
your
plug
merch?
yourself, who will?
You put your face on a sweatshirt.
No, I got my panda
I saw
sweatshirt
that,
coming in the
Nikki.
mail.
I got my panda
Oh.
shit on my way too.
Yeah, it's coming.
I got Lord stuff. Maggie, when are
All
you going to
proceeds
come out
go
with
to
some gear?
I will make merch if I can get over 30,000 followers. There
It's
you
happening
go.
this weekend. It's happening
Oh,
this
shut up,
weekend.
Jonathan. Jonathan's been saying this. He's like,
It needs to
"It's
be
soon
a
enough, Maggie.
Hey,
We're gonna
Maggie.
be there soon."
And
Hey,
like
Maggie, I'll tell you what. How about
Go
creating,
follow Maggie.
Maggie, how about creating merch to get followers? You have to create the market. Then the followers will come.
I don't know if that's
if you
true
build
for
it,
me.
they will come.
Listen,
I'm
if
telling
you
I
share the
don't know
pic-
that.
Maggie,
if you
if
share
you,
the
if you
pic of
put
what-
this on a t-shirt, Maggie,
Oh my god!
if you put this on a t-shirt,
I would
the
totally
followers
put that
will
on a
come.
t-shirt and
If
wear
you
it
put that
around
on a
in the
t-shirt,
grocery store.
I'm okay with
That's
that.
what I would.
Did you just put me jumblies on YouTube? Did you
Hey.
just put me jumblies on YouTube?
Hey, take a chill pill,
You're on
Cuomo.
Hang on, you're on tickety-tockety. You're on tickety-tockety with us, like.
Take
They
a
are.
chill pill,
Okay.
Cuomo.
For anyone that's interested, you can go see my guests on TikTok and help me get to 30,000 followers.
But if you,
Right.
Yes.
Hey, all
Right.
merchandise from Patty the
Who
Panda
needs
also goes to his
OnlyFans, right?
all,
Who
all the
needs it?
merchandise from Patty the Panda goes to his OnlyFans account. So help support.
no, it doesn't. It all goes to the Irish Kidney Association. It goes to charity, for fuck's sake.
It goes to your OnlyFans addiction, and we see what happens.
Keyword in that is dick. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Dick.
All right.
Let's
I don't know
save
what
this
we're
for
going.
the
I don't know what's
after show.
happening.
I don't know
All
what's
right, you
happening.
Are we still on the air?
It's a
Yes,
hypersexual.
we are, and I'm about to take us out. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming to this episode of Friday Night Highlights.
That's what she said.
I have an amazing I have an amazing group of people here.
Oh,
Let's
Jesus.
go. I want to run through real quick. Can you guys plug your pages, and then we'll go out. Let's start with you, Jonathan.
Me, Jonathan, as some people like it, on TikTok, Twitch, Twitter. You can't find me on YouTube because my name's Jonathan Davis, and the dude from Korn's going to come up, and it's going to be really obnoxious. You have to scroll and scroll and scroll. It's fucking amazing. And also, I'm writing for the Divided States of America, starring Heather Gardner. And check that show out. It's awesome. The first one I worked on.
It's amazing.
Published yesterday. So, boom.
Hey,
Love you guys.
Oh, that's what come out about, right?
congratulations. It's so nice to meet you, Jonathan.
No, I wish.
Nikki,
Oh,
you
okay.
gotta go follow Jonathan if you're not already.
I am.
He's-
I will. I have them written down so I can go follow him. Absolutely.
He's-
Jonathan. It's a pleasure meeting you.
You too.
I know these two other guys.
I know. I follow you and like all your stuff.
Jonathan's been my TikTok BFF since we both had like 2,000 followers.
Well, 1,000. That was way back.
I know, way back in the
Wow.
day. And you're so damn talented. He's so good. All right, next we've got Patty the Panda.
Boo.
Okay, I'll keep it quick because Nikki's going to need 18 minutes. So, Patty the Panda on TikTok and also Patty the Panda on YouTube. And all of my handles are there. But what I want to talk about quickly is I have a podcast that's out every Saturday. It's at lunchtime. It's on Patty the Panda. But it's also on it's called Conversations with Patty the Panda. It's on Spotify, iTunes, and all of that. Just check it out. But I'm actually doing a charity campaign at the moment for the Irish Kidney Association, where I'm walking 10,000 steps every single day for the month of March. I'm trying to raise some much needed funds for this organization. The link is in my bio everywhere, especially on TikTok. My mum passed away from kidney failure. I have kidney failure as a result of having COVID. And so I might need these services moving forward. So I'm hoping that as many of you guys will help as much as possible. And I really appreciate it. And thanks for it. I appreciate it, Maggie. Thanks for having me.
I love you, Patty. And I think that's so great that you're doing that for the Kidney Association. That's wonderful.
It's pretty good.
Next, we've got Lord Timotheus.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lord Timotheus. You can follow me across all the platforms under the same name. JC, my husband, and I have that's one person, JC. If you guys haven't met him or seen his videos on TikTok, he's nuts. But he's thoroughly nuts. We have a YouTube live that we do on Sundays between 1 and 4-ish. Other than that, I'm here. Check me out. I love all of you guys. I buy all your merch. Patty, I'm going to your page right now and purchase some stuff.
Yes, it's nice.
Jonathan, you got merch?
What?
He's on mute anyway, that's for sure.
God damn it, I was muted. I'm working on it. Yes, I got it set up. I'm just waiting to go live. Yeah.
Okay. Nikki, you got new merch?
I have new merch.
Oh, you do? Okay, good,
I have
good.
2 new logos. Well, actually 3. There's I have all
good.
Different,
Good.
all new
Listen.
colorful merch.
Listen, we have a lot of followers combined, all of us, but you know what? People love what we're saying and doing because apparently we're role models. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have I'm taking too long. Okay, Maggie, go. I'm sorry, Nikki, go.
Nikki, go ahead, Nikki.
Okay, so I need to make this short for Patty the fucking Panda.
A
So
few moments
you can
later.
follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Nikki New 813. Nikki New 813, and then YouTube is the Nikki New Show. You guys, thank you for having me on. Maggie, thank you. Fuck you, Patty.
First of all, I take fingers all day. Don't worry about that. Jesus.
Oh, we know.
God.
You know I love you. Damn it.
That was a Freudian slip.
You never know what he's going to say. It's crazy.
You didn't do it right.
I love it when Patty's in his sassy moods.
So,
when is he not?
Nikki, what does the 813 stand for in your name? Just curious. What does 813, or is it just a general number? Is the amount of black dicks you had? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. All right.
Crazy.
It's the amount of inches I've had.
Maggie,
how many have you had?
All right, you know what? Listen, I'm gonna. Can I, Patty? Can you please for a second? All right, thank you, Patty. I swear. All right. So
who's
thank
gonna
you
win
guys.
that between Lord, Nikki, and Patty?
I'm trying to exit the show, people. God.
We're going. This is the show.
All right. All right. Thank you guys for coming. I am Maggie.
What's your body
Reed.
count, Patty?
That's what she said.
Maggie, mommy.
You know, this is why I can't get followers, because I can't even outro myself. You
Maggie's never having us on again.
Everyone, shush. Mute everybody, Maggie.
All right.
Tell us.
All right. My name is Maggie Reed. I am Mermaid Mama Maggie across all platforms. You can find me there. And I host Friday Night Highlights every Friday. I also do a show with Walter Masterson every Wednesday. So come check it out on my YouTube and on his YouTube. And thank you guys for coming. And thank you guys for
Love you, Maggie.
Talking
Thank
up
you
a
so much,
storm.
Maggie.
I love you all.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
I love you.